Earlier I cleaned out the earth boxes. One of them had cracks in the bottom, so now I only have 4. There are a couple generations of earth boxes here. This is one of the newest generations. It has the wheels and the trellis that goes on the sides right here. It just goes right in these little holes here. So I'm gonna mix the soil. I have some that I saved from 2 of the boxes, and I'm gonna try to reuse that, but I'm gonna mix up some fresh potting soil. So I have peat moss here. It's sphagnum peat moss, and then I have perlite, and from what I understand, you mix like 1-to-1 as a start. You might need to put less in, so I'll just see how it looks when I'm putting it in. I don't want to have too much in there, so I'm going to mix that now in my cart here, and then I'm thinking I'm going to mix some of the other older soil in. It's kind of wet, but it seems to be okay. Here are the instructions for the Earthbox. And there's different configurations depending on what plants you're planting. So they lay that out as to the quantity of plants, and then the brown line is the row of 1 pound of fertilizer. And here are all the instructions. So you're basically putting the grate in, filling the corners with some of the soil, then putting a layer of soil about 2 inches from the top. Then you're spreading the dolomite, the pelletized dolomite, evenly. Then you're filling it, topping it off with the potting soil. Then you're creating a trough depending on your pattern, filling that with the fertilizer, and then covering that up, and you're mounding the whole thing, and you put a shower cap type cover over the top. I have some of those, I think, but you can just use plastic and then tape it on the sides or tie a string around it. And then you cut your holes in the plastic depending on how many plants you're putting in. And then you fill it up with about 3 gallons of water. It comes out of an overflow hole, and then you're all set to go. I mixed 1 bucket of the peat moss. It's a big bucket. It's more than 5 gallons. It looks like probably 6 gallons. And the perlite, that's supposed to help with moisture retention in the soil. I got a big bag here, and I'll have it for any other times that if I get some more earth boxes and stuff. But it's supposed to also provide some minerals and stuff. I forget exactly what all's in it. It is natural. It's not. I always thought these things were like little things of styrofoam. They feel like that. And then I mixed, not quite, I didn't do 1 and 1. I had this pretty full, not all the way, and I used about 3/4 of it, but it seems like there's quite a bit in here, so I might put just a little bit more in. I'm taking some of the wet older dirt and putting that in the corners. You fill the corners up, that goes down into the reservoir, and then the water will wake up and water the plants. So you need to dampen your potting mix, because since it's very dry, it will fall through the holes of the grate, and there's a grate in the bottom there. There's like 3 inches of water reservoir. So I'm going to put the wet older stuff on the very bottom, put a layer of that, then I won't have to worry about dampening the new stuff so that it doesn't fall through. And that'll be a good usage of all of this stuff, or a lot of this stuff. And then whatever's remaining, then I can mix that with some of the newer stuff, just in case there's not enough minerals in that dirt or something. I don't know that much about soil chemistry. All right, I got them all filled up. I got the dolomite in there. The fertilizer is in each one according to the pattern of which ones I'm going to plant. So it's getting late. I'm getting eaten alive by the mosquitoes. And I'm just kind of tired of doing this right now. It's getting dark. I'm not going to have enough time to cover them. I thought I had covers, but I don't. So I'm going to have to make covers out of garbage bags and then clip them around the edges. So I'm just going to cover them with a tarp. And it's supposed to rain tonight, so I don't want them to get all soaking and wet, because that defeats the purpose of the way they're set up. All right, finally getting back to this today. It was raining. I was doing some other stuff, and of course it started raining when I was thinking about coming out here. So it's been on and off rain, not really downpouring, but just enough to be annoying. I covered these last night with a tarp and stuff so they wouldn't get wet. So now I'm going to cover them with the plastic, which I don't have any new covers, and I don't want to buy anymore. So I'm just going to use a garbage bag, drape it over, and try different things on the outside. I might have to tape it or tie it, or I have some clips, so we'll see what happens. So far that looks like it worked. I tucked it under and pulled the sides so they won't blow up, and then put the clips on. I think the clips will work. I don't have enough for all of them. I have enough for 2 more, so I'm going to have to try the other metal clips. But they're holding on there well. The only thing my concern would be is if the plastic breaks here, then water can get into the box, which you don't want any water to get in there from the top. But I don't think it'll be that bad, because it's going to get some water. When we put the plants in, we're going to cut the plastic in an X shape and put the plants in. And I put a piece of something, pipe or wood, where the fertilizer strip was, so I know. So I'm going to cut some more bags and get going on these other ones. And I don't think the amount of rain that's coming down right now shouldn't cause much of an issue. 2 down, 2 to go. This one has the fertilizer strip in the middle. And I said I had different variations of these boxes. They changed over the years. So this one has a hole going down through the grate, and then you put these stakes. Could be any piece of wood that's this big or double the width of this, and then there's holes there to wire it in there. So it's not the sturdiest thing, but that's a design that they had at one point. So they're in place. And this one has, it's a whole system with it interlocks, and these are aluminum poles, and they go down through a piece that's made right onto the Earthbox, and it goes down to the bottom there. And they're not really sturdy, but you can start tying the tomatoes up on this. This is the tomato box, and just tie them up there. And then I figure if they're getting a lot higher, I can maybe fashion some kind of trellis along going up this, and maybe come over and maybe nail something down here or whatever. But let's get that far even. All 4 done. Now to get the plants in. Tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and zucchini. Now, 2 to go. Cherry tomatoes, big beef tomatoes, and then 6 bell pepper plants. And the pepper plants are ones that you put 6 in instead of just the 2, with the fertilizer down the middle. All I'm doing is putting slits, just an X in the plastic, and then digging down with your fingers. Put a little water in there to moisten the soil, and then just pop the plant down inside there. And put a little bit of dirt, a little bit of what you took out of the hole, put that on the top of it, push it down tightly, and then put a little more water on top. Everything's cleaned up. I cleaned all the mulch and dirt and fertilizer and all that stuff off the deck here with the hose. Now I'm filling up each of the earth boxes. So you put the hose in there, and once it gets filled up, it starts coming out of the reservoir, the overflow drain. It just takes a few seconds to do that. This pipe I might need to flip around. I think the bottom is bigger. I'll do that later. There we go. And that's it. So I'll do that for the rest of these. Yeah, it's raining once again. Not all day, but just enough to downpour and get everything wet. And so I got the last we left off. I had the pipe in the ground here. I'm not going to bury it yet. I'll do that. I might want to dig it down deeper, so rather than having to dig it again, I'm just going to put the hose through it. I'm going to start putting the irrigation lines together here now. I got it fitting on the hose here for the tubing, and I'm putting the first tee on. I'm putting the first tee on, and then I'll run a line here, and then I'll just continue right around, all the way around. The plants, you can see, are doing pretty well. I have to tie this one up. It's been falling over. I have to tie these up too. Alright, all set up. Got the hose coming in here to the irrigation line, tee to this box, tee to this box, tee to this box, and then just an end into there. So I'm going to set up the timer and have it go off for like a minute or something and see how much water comes out. They should need to be watered a little bit. I watered them a couple of days ago, but they should need some water. So we'll see how much water comes through these lines. Finally done. Way too long. I should have known. I did think about the pressure in the hose dwindling as it would go along and empty into each box. So that was the case, and I had to put some clamps on the ends of the fill lines. So all I had was hinges. I put the hinges on there to lower the volume of water coming out, and then I was doing it from box to box, this box to this box. So I ran it down the middle so that there's a T here, and then it goes to this box and that box, and then goes to that box and then that box. So there's only 2 on a line as opposed to 4 on a line. And my tests came up with it being pretty equal amount of water coming out. So it just took a long time to do that and fiddle fart around with getting these hinges on here and all that stuff. So I'm going to just put the tubes in there and set the timer, and we should be good. I filled them. They're all filled up right now. I'm just going to have it come on each day for about a minute, and twice a day, so 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So it'll top it off from overnight, and then then from during the day it'll top it off for into the evening. But it won't be giving it an excess amount of water, and they're not that big yet, and I don't see them getting in 2 weeks getting humongous where they'd be taking the normal amount, which is usually like anywhere from 3 to 6 gallons a day. These things will take once they really start growing and getting fruit and stuff. So I think the 1 minute will be enough for now. It's probably about a gallon or so, and they didn't take that much when I was putting water in them just now, and I haven't put it in for a couple of days. Okay, signing off. This is the final steps here for the garden, a dance floor turned into a garden. So thanks for watching, and maybe next year, definitely next year, I'll get these other 2 going, and I'll probably have to rearrange the lines here. Maybe I'll even get some smaller 1/4 inch lines. That's a whole another situation. So that's it.